One of the things I remember from my earliest days in AMI was these blue slips, and coming back from the meetings with having them sticking out of my pockets and falling out of my suitcase, and like blue slips everywhere. And the blue slip process is connected to something called the BBWI, so the beg, brag, and what if. It's kind of like a mini TED Talk, and I can remember that. I think actually I experienced my first BBWI before I heard my first TED Talk. But after I did, I'm like, oh wow! So this is like this little mini idea, these bursts of brilliance or suffering or genius or puzzles, whatever it could be. But you bring forward, community members stand up, they have 7 to 15 minutes to talk about something or ask a question, and you get immediate response from the community. And so the blue slips are the vehicle at which these ideas are passed forward in a face-to-face environment. When we do things virtually, we have sort of background communication streams that capture the ideas and the thoughts. But essentially the idea is that you bring forward one of 3 different kinds of questions or statements to the community. So a beg means, I have a problem, I'm trying to solve this, let me give you the context of my situation. Here's where I'm stumbling, and here's what outcomes I'd like to achieve. What ideas do you have? You can set that up in 3 to 5 minutes, and then you get some real smart people responding and writing to you. I've walked away from presentations where I've had over 150 ideas in a stack of blue slips. And so you get your problems answered. Sometimes you get an email address, or I've got the perfect solution for you, and it's like a pot of gold appears, because then you can go navigate your problem with some help, which is important. The brag is another version of that, but I did this cool thing. I did the best thing. You wouldn't believe it. I didn't even know I was doing it when I was doing it, but I did it, and here's what happened. And I need to tell you this story because maybe you can do it too, or maybe you can modify what I came up with, or maybe you can tell me a way to make it better. And so, but I've got something to share. It's a brag. And I want to scream it out to the treetops. And I hope that it helps you in some kind of way. Again, reciprocity, value exchange, good things flowing in multiple directions that makes a community strong. The third is the what if, and these are fun. We don't get as many what ifs as begs and brags, but it's questions about the possible or the future. And so what if XYZ, something that doesn't exist yet, or maybe someone knows a little bit about the future that you don't yet and knows this thing's coming, and what if we had this thing that did this, or what if we could do banking on our phone, or what if imagine something that was a BBWI from probably 15 years ago, and now we do absolutely everything on our phone, can't get away from it. So the what if poses the world of the possible, and you get responses from individuals who don't live a normal day-to-day life. So it's kind of interesting. So the beg, brag, what if process, it's a way to get short bursts of quick thinking, quick value exchanges within the community, and generate some value, quite a bit of it in a short amount of time.
So BBWIs, or beg, brag, what ifs, are really the backbone of an AMI gathering. They are the building blocks that knit together the experience of our meetings, of our gatherings. And they're also the engine for our applied learning. We are an innovation learning community, and we come together to find that way, that mechanism where we can take a group of oftentimes 70 plus people and very efficiently have them learn from one another, learn deeply from one another. And that's what the BBWIs do. BBWIs have been around forever, as far as I know. I think that the framework was created back in Creativity Week, and it's stuck because it works so well. This concept that I, as an innovation practitioner, can show up and someone who's making innovation happen in another world, in another context, in another organization, in another field, in another industry, can quickly, in 10, 15 minutes, share with me a story of a success, something that they've accomplished, share with me a challenge or a problem that they're facing that I can dig into and help them solve based on my experience, share with me an idea that they're tossing around in their head, a what if possibility that I can help them to build out. It's incredible to be able to both have the gift of those stories and that BBWI exchange giving me all kinds of fuel for my own learning and innovation back in my organization, in my context, in the world that I'm operating, but also that I can contribute ideas that find their way to life through another AMI member's journey. It's really amazing. And part of what's amazing about it is just the sheer volume of ideas that you get when you bring a challenge forward, when you bring a bag forward in this community. You leave that 15-minute exchange with hundreds of ideas in the form of these blue slips that represent, different stages of ideas. Some are beginning ideas and seeds and connections and referrals and suggestions, and always an opening, a starting point, a part of your collection of ideas that can help you solve the challenge or the problem that you came with. It's amazing. Let's see, I'm going to say some other stuff. And when you bring a what if in and you're throwing out this future possible state that's half baked, that you haven't thought all the way through, and all of a sudden you've got all of these different perspectives on how to make it real and what's possible and how to grow it bigger than you thought it could be. That's applied. It's an incredible applied learning. It's applied imagination that helps you bring your idea to life. There are all these stories that you'll hear when you engage with AMI members about the reciprocity that's such a commitment and value in this community that plays out in the beg, brag, what ifs. That I brought a challenge to the community, a problem. I received just this incredible gift of so many ideas. I went back into my context, into my organization, into my world. I applied some of those ideas. It helped me to move things forward. And now I come back to a future AMI meeting and I'm offering a brag. And that brag is the story of the success that I've had and how it connected to the gifts that the AMI community gave me through their ideas. And so that kind of reciprocity that exists in the give and the get of the beg, brag, what ifs, the commitment and promise that members make to one another to both offer the fullness of their ideas and experience to help another innovator on their journey, and also when you've received the gift of those offerings, to bring them back. And that's kind of that cycle that we see, that reciprocity cycle through the beg, brag, what if exchange.